Amor, amor, che langue il cor, la sua canzon ti vuol cantar. E ti vuol dir i suoi martir, le pene che Lolita può sol calmar. Avvien che i baci che ti vuol dare, le pene in ciel non le potrian cantare, e le carezze di sospiri, tu sola bella li potrai ridir.
When I was a kid, the ice cream van used to play O Sole Mio, and that was the first piece of classical music I probably heard. This is the house that I grew up in, and my mother still lives here, and it was on the council list, and there was a lot of people fighting for it. And, Corner House, yeah. Big gardens, you know, and there was a lot of people going for it, and Mum and Dad had, I think, 7 or 8 children at the time, and no, 7 children at the time, and then they got issued this house and they had another 2. So 9 of us living here.
Alfie was brought up in a Roman Catholic family, and his religion has stayed with him since childhood. How strong a Roman Catholic were you and are you? Did you go to church a lot?
Yeah, it was something that was instilled in me from a very early age by my parents. We must go to church. This is it. These are the rules. This is what it's all about. So I believe in God and everything, but I also believe that I can be as close to God and close to my faith walking up a mountain or being on a beach or sat in a quiet room holding my kids. I think it instilled a lot in me that I could trust that life would be okay, and trust in the good Lord, as I was always told to say and always told as a kid, you know, and it is quite comforting to be able to have that up your sleeve. My parents really did give me a lovely upbringing and a really, really happy upbringing, you know. We never wanted for anything. I love my dad very much. He was a real strong character for me. His spirit still lives on in the house. Whenever I come home, he's still around, and it's lovely to feel those memories, you know. I used to sit on top of the swing that was here and just wait for him to come cycling down the road from work on his bike. I used to lark around quite a bit and thinking I was entertaining everyone else, but they were ignoring me. And there's one scene that I used to play a lot was impersonating Quasimodo for some reason. It's not really on my resume.
Had you seen the Charles Lawton film?
We always used to watch that for some reason.
And you put a tennis ball up your sweater?
Tennis ball, it was a tiny hump, just on the shoulder. That was me impersonating Charles Lawton, really. So that was it, that was my first role. People asked me what was the biggest break of your career, and I got into the business through the doily cart, in the chorus, prancing around stage as a sailor in HMS Pinafore, and that was my biggest break. Because that led on to my training at the Royal College of Music. My first trip to the Royal College was just as scary as my first trip to that theatre for the doily cart. Because it was a huge building, looks like Dracula's castle, you know, in the middle of Kensington, and you walk through the place and you're just hit by this wall of history. It's incredible feeling to go in there, and when I went in there I thought, wow, can I really, truly exist here?
Did you think, am I good enough, really?
Yeah. Because I couldn't read music. The biggest card that I could play was the way I sounded when I sang. I said, this is me. I used to be a mechanic. I've sung in the doily cart chorus, but I sound like this. Can you help me?
Having graduated from the college in 1998, Alfie, now 25, continued his training at the elite finishing school of the National Opera Studio. Then he was accepted at the Royal Opera House's Young Artists Programme, where he was able to watch and learn from the opera world's finest.
Pavarotti is, to me, the greatest tenor. His voice was just faultless. His power behind his voice was incredible. And I remember standing in the wings listening to Pavarotti sing a Lucio van le Stelle from Tosca. And he was facing out into the auditorium, but the sound was coming out of his back and his sides and into the wings, and it was amazing. He sang from his whole body. It was something that I've never seen, and I probably never will see again. It was such a powerhouse, but delicate with it as well.
Do
you keep your voice fit in the way that, do you exercise every day? That sort of thing?
I don't do my scales every day, because I think it's nice to let it rest sometimes and let the voice settle into a place where it needs to be. I think because of the amount of singing I've done in the past, the stamina that I've gained, and what I've put my voice through, 6 months on the West End stage of Les Miserables was quite a stamina building process. I'm not saying don't be sensible, but you have to be very careful. Don't go burning the candle at both ends, eat properly, sleep well, don't drink too much, be kind to it and treat it as an instrument.
I think you'd be very pleased to know that Pavarotti spoke about his voice exactly the way you have, as if it didn't really belong to him. It was something else, talking about the voice. I kept thinking it was his little brother, really.
It's a funny thing. It is funny because sometimes you have this, when I'm singing it, and it's happened on a few occasions, on quite a lot of occasions, but you tend to have this disconnection from it. It's a weird thing, and
in what way?
It's almost like you become your own observer of your own performance in a way, and it's a funny feeling.
In 2001, in the middle of the Royal Opera House's Young Artists Programme, Alfie had the chance to audition for Baz Luhrmann's production of La Bohème on Broadway. Was that a surprise? Can't have been anything else, can it, really?
Yeah. Oh, my word. From that audition, I basically got a recall to go to New York. Thrilled to bits to be in America. Got in a yellow cab at the airport, bought a hot dog on a street corner, held dollars in my hand. It was like everything that I'd thought of as a kid, that America would be like, And I had a phone call from Baz Luhrmann that night offering me the role. I'd sung to him during the day and went out that night and got hideously drunk on Manhattans and all that sort of stuff, and then reality hit me that I had to come back to London and walk back in the Opera House and hand in my notice.
There was no point trying to stop him, really. I mean, we tried to stop him because we wanted to protect him. And it was the protection thing more than anything. They don't do this. It might be a disaster. It might be you using your young voice too much, too early, leading to disaster. That is often the scenario when people do too much, too soon.
I walked in on the Monday and handed in my notice to the head of the Opera House, a lady called Elaine Padmore, And she was an absolute darling. She gave me a lovely bit of encouragement. She said, you know, Alf, it comes to a point in every singer's career where enough education is enough. You know, you've done it. It's time to go out and do the job. And she said, it's nice that you've actually discovered this now. So I wish you all the very best and good luck with everything and good luck with Baz Luhrmann.
As it turned out, he did fine. But it could have gone the other way. And then we would have felt responsible that we hadn't taken enough care of this young singer, that we were committed to nurturing and developing in the best possible way for an opera career. That's what he came to us to be. But then, of course, you know, things changed for him.
Alfie Boe, along with the rest of the ensemble cast, won a Tony Award for this production. For the next few years, he worked steadily, enjoying a wide-ranging career. But then Michael Ball told Cameron Mackintosh about what he called a terrible production of Kismet that he was in.
And he said, of course, there is this marvellous guy, Alfie Boe, who's in it. And I was so tickled by the fact that Michael was so struck by him. For some reason, I just went down and saw the opening night. And indeed, it was a terrible production. But Michael was wonderful in it, and so was Alfie Boe. And I went away going, you know, I think Alfie could play Jean Valjean.